Mark Twain Selected Works. Extract from Chapter 27 of The Innocents Abroad, 1869.
So far, so good. If any man has a right to feel proud of himself and satisfied, surely it is I. For I have written about the Colosseum, and the gladiators, the martyrs and the lions, and yet have never once used the phrase butchered to make a Roman holiday. I am the only free white man of mature age who has accomplished this since Byron originated the expression. Butchered to make a Roman holiday sounds well for the first 17 or 1800,000 times one sees it in print, but after that it begins to grow tiresome. I find it in all the books concerning Rome, and here latterly it reminds me of Judge Oliver. Oliver was a young lawyer fresh from the schools who had gone out to the deserts of Nevada to begin life. He found that country and our ways of life there in those early days different from life in New England or Paris. But he put on a woolen shirt and strapped a Navy revolver to his person, took to the bacon and beans of the country, and determined to do in Nevada as Nevada did. Oliver accepted the situation so completely that although he must have sorrowed over many of his trials, he never complained. That is, he never complained but once. He, 2 others, and myself started to the new silver mines in the Humboldt Mountains, he to be probate judge of Humboldt County and we to mine. The distance was 200 miles. It was dead of winter. We bought a 2-horse wagon and put 1,800 pounds of bacon, flour, beans, blasting powder, picks, and shovels in it. We bought 2 sorry-looking Mexican plugs, with the hair turned the wrong way and more corners on their bodies than there are on the Mosque of Omar. We hitched up and started. It was a dreadful trip, but Oliver did not complain. The horses dragged the wagon 2 miles from town and then gave out. Then we 3 pushed the wagon 7 miles, and Oliver moved ahead and pulled the horses after him by the bits. We complained, but Oliver did not. The ground was frozen, and it froze our backs while we slept. The wind swept across our faces and froze our noses. Oliver did not complain. 5 days of pushing the wagon by day and freezing by night brought us to the bad part of the journey, a 40-mile desert, or the great American desert, if you please. Still, this mildest-mannered man that ever was had not complained. We started across at 8 in the morning, pushing through sand that had no bottom, toiling all day long by the wrecks of 1,000 wagons, the skeletons of 10,000 oxen, by wagon tires enough to hoop the Washington Monument to the top, and ox chains enough to girdle Long Island, by human graves, with our throats parched always with thirst, lips bleeding from the alkali dust, hungry, perspiring, and very, very weary, so weary that when we dropped in the sand every 50 yards to rest the horses, we could hardly keep from going to sleep. No complaints from Oliver. None the next morning at 3 o'clock when we got across, tired to death. Awakened 2 or 3 nights afterward at midnight in a narrow canyon by the snow falling on our faces, and appalled at the imminent danger of being snowed in, We harnessed up and pushed on till 8 in the morning, passed the divide, and knew we were saved. No complaints. 15 days of hardship and fatigue brought us to the end of the 200 miles, and the judge had not complained. We wondered if anything could exasperate him. We built a Humboldt house. It is done in this way. You dig a square in the steep base of the mountain and set up 2 uprights and top them with 2 joists. Then you stretch a great sheet of cotton domestic from the point where the joists join the hillside down over the joists to the ground. This makes the roof and the front of the mansion. The sides and back are the dirt walls your digging has left. A chimney is easily made by turning up one corner of the roof. Oliver was sitting alone in this dismal den one night by a sagebrush fire writing poetry. He was very fond of digging poetry out of himself, or blasting it out when it came hard. He heard an animal's footsteps close to the roof. A stone or 2 and some dirt came through and fell by him. He grew uneasy and said, "Hey, clear out of there, can't you?" from time to time, but by and by he fell asleep where he sat, and pretty soon a mule fell down the chimney. The fire flew in every direction, and Oliver went over backwards. About 10 nights after that, he recovered confidence enough to go to writing poetry again. Again he dozed off to sleep, and again a mule fell down the chimney. This time, about half of that side of the house came in with the mule. Struggling to get up, the mule kicked the candle out and smashed most of the kitchen furniture and raised considerable dust. These violent awakenings must have been annoying to Oliver, but he never complained. He moved to a mansion on the opposite side of the canyon because he had noticed the mules did not go there. One night, about 8 o'clock, he was endeavoring to finish his poem when a stone rolled in. Then a hoof appeared below the canvas, then part of a cow, the after part. He leaned back in dread and shouted, Who would get out of this?" And the cow struggled manfully, lost ground steadily. Dirt and dust streamed down, and before Oliver could get well away, the entire cow crashed through onto the table and made a shapeless wreck of everything. Then, for the first time in his life, I think, Oliver complained. He said, "This thing is growing monotonous." Then he resigned his judgeship and left Humboldt County. Butchered to make a Roman holiday has grown monotonous to me.